Good evening, Martinians, seniors, juniors, and my colleagues. I wish to thank each one of you to have made to this meeting today. This meeting has been a very important meeting for all of us, for Martiniere, for the Martiniere's principal, and the alumni's patron as well. You must have read about the developments that took place over the last few days. I'd like to emphasize here that this is where, and I was very happy to see the response of the Martinians. I mean, whatever, the unity, the solidarity is superb. Hats off to you all. As you know, Kalyle McFarlane, a student of La Martiniere, 79 batch, was chosen on his competence, on his academics, as the successor to Mr. Elton D'Souza, again a fantastic teacher and a principal. As soon as Kalyle took over, of course, he was faced with many hurdles. Finances were not very good. There are a lot of things to be done. And plus, of course, it was a growing college. The needs were growing every day. A simple thing which Kalyle did was to start cleaning up the campus. I still remember that. And likewise, things started. The advantage which Kalyle had basically was that, in fact, our batch, we were as close to our seniors as to our juniors. As a result, we knew the expectation of the students, the college, and what was expected from him as a principal. Initially also, there were a lot of hurdles which he had to clear, but he kept on going. Eventually, after it was decided that La Martiniere's base has to be the Alumni Association. Any institution, any school, any college, the base, the strength is the alumni. We had alumni associations all over: Delhi, Bombay, Calcutta, Chandigarh, Bangalore, Australia, UK. But we lacked a mother body. This is what Kalyle envisioned, and this is what we formulated. Hence, LMA was formed, and today we are successively doing the 12th AGM. Today's meeting is basically only on Kalyle and the school. Kalyle was the first person in our class who envisioned, who said that we have to draw each and every batch to the school. Hence, we started from the 25 years of our passing out in 2004. And then, of course, it just started. 25 years, then 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 35 years, 40 years. And you will be happy to know that there are batches who are celebrating the 50th year of passing out as well. All these batches, they had been magnanimous. They tried their best in one way or the other to support the school, to support the association. And everybody, as per his capacity, came forward and did his bit. The administration here, who happens to be a part of the executive committee of La Martiniere, always had some problem or the other. At one time, I remember, this was few years before, when, for no rhyme or reason, if Carlyle would permit, the salaries were stopped. It took nearly 4 to 5 years, 4 to 5 months, when the salaries were then, of course, given to the staff. This kept on happening, pressures, everything. But Carlyle always used to stand like a rock. He never used to succumb. Of late, this was last Saturday on the 9th of September. That was it was a moment where it really hurt. Carlyle gets a call from the press. One executive committee member of the local committee of governors had leaked a letter addressed to Carlyle to the press first. The letter reached Carlyle much later, and he got the call from the press much earlier. The letter had two impugned allegations. One was that he has been delaying the process of advertising for his successor. And number two was that one executive committee member asking a second executive member to seize financial records of financial irregularities. Unfounded allegations, best known to them, unethical. I would like to call upon Jaideep Mathur, who's an authority on legal matters. He would apprise you what are the rights of an executive committee member. Carlyle had in January written to the committee, in January itself, that my retirement comes in December 23. Unless and until the committee takes over, unless and until a decision is taken, it is not possible for him to take out advertisements. It's very simple. The committee, for some reason or the other, just couldn't sit together. 3 consecutive chairmen changed over this short period. Finally, now the senior judge has taken over. And then all this happened. The basic fact of this is that now, as times are changing, this never used to happen ever. It's never happened earlier also. But why now? You have seen such beautiful institutions because of such committees or administration people. Look at Colvin, superb institution. What's happened to it? Friends, this is where we have to step in. As true Martinians, we have to ensure that we get the best. If Carlyle's successor has to come, it has to be a competent person. We cannot get anyone who can, of course, whatever good things he has done, take it back 10, 12 years. We can't do that. We are not at that stage, especially now when we are just about to take off. You will be happy to know that, there are so many alumni, there are so many people all over the world who want to contribute, who want to make our dream of making an auditorium possible. They are ready for the seed capital. They are ready. I myself am going to provide the seed capital for that. We have to have a base. For that, we need to have a strong and integrity-wise powerful principal, competent, both academically as well as for the students, for the school, for the college. This is not an institution. It's one of the best institutions of the world. It's not a school, it's not a college. This is something, friends, which it has always been very sacred to me, not only to me, to all of you. We just can't let it go like this. This is where the solidarity is required. This is where we keep on partying, we keep on dancing, doing whatever we feel like. But ultimately, this is what is required. This is what is required. Jaideep, would you please address the House about the legal standing of an executive committee?
Let me start by telling you that La Martiniere is run actually by two committees. There is a trust. The trust comprises of the chairman, who is the chief secretary of UP, and the other trustee is the principal secretary law or the legal remembrancer of the state of UP. There are two trustees. These trustees are the appointing authority for the principal and for the bursar. Now, all other teachers are not appointed by the trust. They are appointed by the local committee of governors. Now, the local committee of governors of La Martiniere is headed by the senior judge of the Lucknow bench of the Allahabad High Court, the commissioner, Lucknow division, the district magistrate, two other members, one of whom presently is the principal of IT College, Mrs. Vinita Prakash, and the other person is a retired judge, Mr. Justice Harsh Kumar. Apart from these people, the principal is also a part of the local committee of governors. The principal is neither subservient to the local committee of governors, nor does he report to the local committee of governors. He is an integral, equal part. Just like the commissioner and the district magistrate and the others, the principal is an equal part of the committee of governors, the local committee of governors. Now, the problem seems to start with this. For some reason, the government nominees on the local committee of governors seem to feel that they are people to whom the principal must report. The principal does not report to them. The principal will report either to the trustees or maybe to the chairman of the local committee of governors, because he's a part of the committee of which the chairman is the senior judge. So either the principal goes to the chairman with whatever he has to say, or any action which is to be taken qua the principal has to be taken by the trustees, maybe on the recommendations of the local committee of governors, but certainly not on the basis of the whims and fancies of individual members of the local committee of governors. Now, what happened was extremely unfortunate. Carlyle's term as principal is coming to an end. He is attaining the age of superannuation in December, and he will continue till the end of the academic session, as is the practice, till March, or till his successor comes. So 1 year before this happened, he informed everyone in writing that his term was coming to an end, that he had 1 year left, and that arrangements may be made accordingly. It is not his job to choose his successor. He doesn't get to choose his successor. The appointing authority for the principal are the trustees. But he informed all of them. Now, somehow, for some reason, everybody started writing to him, started telling him that please arrange for a meeting of the local committee of governors. Now, he is a part of the local committee of governors, but he was asked to arrange for a meeting of the local committee of governors so that this matter of, selection of principal, etc. could proceed further. Carlyle went and met the chairman several times, wrote letters to them, but because successive senior judges of the Allahabad High Court, of the Lucknow bench of Allahabad High Court, were either being elevated to the Supreme Court or were being elevated as Chief Justice elsewhere, they could not give time for a meeting. Carlyle wrote all this down and gave it to the district magistrate, saying that, see, I have asked these people repeatedly for convening a meeting of the local committee of governors, and these people are not giving me time. Now, if the commissioner and the DM wanted, or if they so felt, they could have themselves gone and taken time from the chairman and got a meeting organized, but they chose not to do it. They chose to keep writing letters to him. Each time a letter would come to him, he would again go to the senior judge, ask for time, but because of their very busy schedule and subsequently because of their elevations, they could not give time for a meeting. On the 9th, through the press, he gets to know that the Commissioner Lucknow Division has written a nasty letter to him. That nasty letter said that you have deliberately not been convening the meetings of the local committee of management, local committee of governors. Number one, factually incorrect. Number two, how could one member of the managing committee start levying allegations against another equal member of the managing committee? The commissioner herself is a member of the local committee of governors. How can you start making allegations against another member of the local committee of governors, and even without asking him about anything, you release it to the press? The man gets to know this only when he gets a call late in the evening from the newspaper saying that we've received this letter from the commissioner. Now, more offensive than that was that after the letter, there is a little line which directs the district magistrate to go to the office and seize all the accounts of the school which are under the control of the principal, because there are financial irregularities of which the principal is accused. And therefore, since an inquiry may need to be held later, therefore, the papers should all be seized. Now, two questions here. In what capacity does one member of the managing committee, namely the commissioner, ask another managing committee member, that is the district magistrate, to seize the papers from a third managing committee member, that is the principal? In what capacity do you do that? You can't. Second, what is this bogey about financial irregularities? Is there an inquiry report? Is there any inquiry pending in which there may have been a prima facie revelation that, the principal is mixed up in any financial irregularities? I am the lawyer for the college. I can safely tell you, no. There have been several audits which have been ordered. Those audits are yet to see light of day. They've yet to be completed. Before all this wild allegation is made, which is patently and wholly without any authority, and that is actually released to the press. Now, once that happened, Carlyle felt that it was only in the fitness of things if he were to go on long leave. Firstly, because I personally feel it was very insulting and he did the right thing. I would have probably done the same thing, as would most of you. Secondly, he said in his letter by which he went on leave, he said that, listen, if you are proposing to hold an inquiry into financial irregularities against me, I don't want a potential allegation to be levied against me that I was not cooperating, or I was fudging the papers, or I was keeping the papers away from you. So I am going on leave. Please go take charge of the papers, do what you like. Now, after he went on leave, then everybody sort of woke up and realized what the hell had happened. So the senior judge convened a meeting of the local committee of governors in which the district magistrate and the commissioner were both there. Carlyle was also present in that meeting, and a unanimous decision was taken that what was stated in that letter was not quite correct and needed to be expunged. Incidentally, as an aside, regarding the financial matters of the institution, all accounts of the Institute of La Martiniere till the last year have been audited. Those audit reports have been submitted to the tax authorities. The accounts of the institution have been subjected to scrutiny under the Income Tax Act. And for each and every assessment year, those accounts have been found to be proper. Now, what financial irregularities are we talking about? Nevertheless, the local committee of governors decided in that meeting that all these accounts, etc., will be produced by the bursar before the local committee of governors so that they can take a call in the matter. further call on the matter. But it was found that that little sentence there, accusing the principal of financial irregularities, was incorrect and that needed to be expunged. So a resolution was passed expunging that. As a responsible principal, once that happened, I sort of assumed that, Carlyle would again sort of, dig in his heels and say that, don't let these guys do what they have to do. But as a responsible person, and this is something I'm very, very happy to say, immediately upon receiving the copy of the minutes, he immediately wrote to the local committee of governors and said that I'm resuming my duties forthwith. And I'm glad to say that he's here with us today, completely exonerated. Completely exonerated. I'm extremely, extremely sorry that he's had to go through all this. He's been through all this because of the school and because of all of us. For all of us. He's had to go through this. This is not something which is, and the unkindest cut is that, these are things which are in the newspapers. So all of us, I'm sure, are receiving calls from our friends saying what the hell is happening at La Martiniere, and is the principal guilty of some financial bungling, and what is this bloody money making going on there and all that. All of us have got those calls, and it's something which, if you had been in his place, if all of us had been in his place, we would have actually felt the pinch, but I'm sure all of us even then did feel the pinch when we find out, when we get to know that this is happening to our friend who is, for some reason, just being targeted. This is the legal situation. So now the position is this, that he's back. The second thing, the local committee of governors also decided in that meeting that as far as this advertising for the advertising the post of principal, etc. is concerned, this is not his job. He is the outgoing principal. He is not a king who elects his successor or who decides who his successor is going to be. He is the outgoing principal. So they have decided on the terms of the advertisement which are to be issued. That advertisement will be issued shortly, and thereafter selections, etc. for the post of principal will be made. I would have hoped that the local committee of governors would have given him an extension, but it seems that they've not done it. But I'm still not giving up. I hope that good sense will prevail. He gets an extension so that, he can carry on, and the new principal who comes, gets to learn from, whatever his experiences have been, so that he can hand over the baton to somebody who is already well versed with the affairs of the school. Let us all stand together in solidarity with the principal, and I'm sure all of us are all Martinians through and through, and we will fight for the college right till it's needed. Vive la Martiniere. Thank you.
Yes, sure, for giving us this school. Well, thank you so much. And now I would request Carlyle to please come to the dais and say a few words.
First and foremost, Carlyle can never say a few words. So if you're ready for it, well and good. If you're not ready for it, I hope Nadeem will still have something to sustain you with. Ladies and gentlemen, we have all made the right noises, me included. But when you feel targeted, there is a fear that you might be overreacting and you might be imagining that you're being persecuted for whatever reason. This one always has to be very careful of. The second thing, if one is targeted, you wonder why. Okay? To bring up something which may have happened without evidence and without proof many years ago, and to say that it is now relevant and that this is the reason why X, Y, or Z has to be done, once again, you wonder why. And we don't have a suitable answer to that. Why have two officers of the government whom we urgently need and always need to be on our committee? Okay? Why have two officers of the government got together for the second time in 5 years? The individuals may have been different, but for the second time in 5 years, to do this kind of thing to an institution of reputation. They say to be forewarned is to be forearmed, which is true. And having been through an even more difficult time in 2018, 2019, I repeat, a more difficult time in that year, this incident, I knew how to deal with it. Because the typical Sarkari method follows a particular system. Make an accusation, use authority, use power, keep making a big noise, and noise means really a noise. And when you find that the going is tough, then quietly settle down and add your signature to a so-called unanimous decision. It doesn't make sense. If I was a crook, okay, then I am still a crook. And then those minutes should not be signed by those who have publicly as well as in meeting said that I am a crook. But it will obviously not be taken lying down. Why? Because I grew my balls at Martiniere. I don't know if I was born with them. And when you are, as all of us have at some time, been correctly or sometimes wrongly accused for wrongdoing in one of these classes upstairs or downstairs, you know exactly what it feels and how you are trained to defend yourself and to come clean. There was no need for coming clean. Right? You also learn that if you stand by your principles of honor, and I don't want to make this into a sermon, if you stand by your principles of honor, it is going to be difficult. Okay? But eventually, you will be able to pull through without compromise upon what may be your basic principles, your basic nature, your basic way of life. Okay. Let me explain a little more fully. Okay. Martiniere has to be run professionally, obviously. I am subject, as Jaideep said, to immediate authority, which is the local committee of governors. as principal. But at the same time, I am also the secretary of that committee and a full member. There are only two people on that committee whose work is defined. The chairman as the chairman and the secretary as the secretary. The others are all by virtue of their post and have perhaps less authority, or shall I say, I am among the equals of authority, but the first or the second among those equals. Okay? I will not stand anyone's bullshit. All right? But let me also tell you, and perhaps only my brother and my immediate family know, that I did shit myself. As any one of us would, if you have a knock on the door in the middle of the night, if you receive a very official looking letter with a government of Uttar Pradesh stamp on it, if you receive a summons for maybe even a traffic offense, it disturbs you. You can't say balls. Okay? It disturbs you. And when you are running a school, when you have children right from nursery living with us, and one little fellow gets his finger cut and wants the personal attention of the principal, ki chot lag gayi. All right? You can't really give attention to that child, which he deserves and which I would like to do, because there is some kind of legal battle which has to be fought and which has to be addressed at that particular time. Okay? So besides running the school and its academics, besides running a functioning boarding house with 500 boys, 2 of whom are at the moment our cameramen over here today, besides running the estate, where we have people in pink pants coming and wanting to point pistols and grab land. All right? And then the chief secretary being summoned literally to the office of the senior judge and asked for an explanation. And I am being provided with police security who is sleeping in my guest room. These are not very happy things. And the job of principal of La Martiniere, okay, is a responsible one. When you have done it for over 10 years, the charm goes. All right? I tell you, the charm goes. For what is the charm? That you stand up over here and speak to you. What is so charming about that? Look at the faces I have in front of me. All right? I mean, what can be charming in that? All right? But the charm goes. It is a job that is to be done. And as you grow older in life, the younger ones in the hall perhaps will not recognize this. As you grow older in life, you do find relevance in what you are doing, in what you are bequeathing and leaving to the next generation. Ladies and gentlemen, I have to go someday. I could die tonight. And if I died tonight, the same committee of governors will have to put somebody in place, and then the same trustees will have to go through the process, and then the same people will have to select somebody. This is reality. But it would be nice if there is a smooth transition, which no one can guarantee. It would be nice. It would also be more comfortable. Who wants a principal who is constantly bitching, constantly peevish, constantly complaining, constantly saying that I am victimized, constantly saying that I am the victim of prejudice? Who wants something like that? You want to get on with it. And this is exactly what not just you, but also I would also like to face. But it has to be done with respect, because that's what we learnt in school. That is what in the last 12 years I have strived to maintain with my boys. They are not allowed to sit on the ground. They will sit on chairs. They will not come for a program without being invited, and they will be invited. It is these small things that we take for granted, right, which is what gives dignity to the individual whom you are addressing. In this last set of incidents, I don't even call it a fight. It had to be dealt with. I repeat, it had to be dealt with. Okay? Because calling for explanation and all this kind of stuff, it's just not on. All right? But in this last few incidents, right, within days, there has been a tone of gloom that has descended upon the college, which, had this continued, would have gone further into a sense of apathy and a lack of interest, which from time to time in the school has happened in the past. Why repair the door? It will break again. The boys broke the glass. Don't repair it. The grass is growing. It's the monsoon. Let it grow. This building is falling down. Array, it's 200 years old. How much longer can it survive? That kind of apathy is what I am talking about. Okay? A lack of interest, disinterest, because kaam chalana hai. Right? In the last 12 years, the kind of support which I have received is outstanding. It is a big credit to me. Okay? I would say that publicly. For support doesn't just come because you are a celebrity, which I am not. I am a fellow Martinian, especially in this room. Right? Support comes when you feel that instinctively, I think I can trust this guy. Yeah, I did read that bullshit on the internet. How he borrowed 500 rupees from somebody. Right? I found that very fishy. And I began to distrust him from that moment, is one of the threads which I read not just now, some time ago. All right? The guy is sitting here. All right? So we've had stuff like this. Even in this incident, now that the immediate panic has been stemmed by legal opinion, personal friendship, and all the things which are represented by the executive committee here, we are now seeing some rather ugly things coming up. Who is behind this? It must be an inside job. Okay. You know, I don't trust so-and-so. Okay. So-and-so is angling for this. No. Somebody is coming from Kerala to take over. And that is why this situation is being made out. See, it's pretty irresponsible. But कहने में क्या जाता है? और type करने में क्या जाता है, especially if you were 3 whiskeys down. Right? Later I will regret it, but then you'll say, Arey, let it be. It's already done. In these events, I would first of all like to thank you for the outpouring of support. Okay. The hall is full. It could have been fuller, but people are at work and getting on with their lives. By clicking on a particular message, by signing a petition where there was apparently some army, okay, which I felt very proud of, okay? I felt very much like that fellow who was blown up by Putin up in the air, all right? Wondering when it would happen to me, okay? So all this is very nice, and I understand it is a way of being able to express solidarity. But at the same time, okay, I would stress that we continue to follow up on this and not just let it go, because I will not let it go. Now, when I say I will not let it go, it's not that I am going to be vindictive and take a revenge. Rubbish. Okay? It's not worth it. But the school will not suffer. When there has to be the time for a new principal to come in, I will gladly help in being able to set the new principal into the seat nicely, with the advice that he may want, with the advice that he may not ask for, but which I still shall give, with the hope that it will be able to color his opinion and his judgment, and that he will take correct judgment, correct way of doing things in the manner that I did from my predecessor. Right? Because the system must go on. We are 178 years old. Okay? This is just a blip on the landscape, is what I told my boys this morning. I obviously could not speak to them at length because they are young boys, and young boys waiting to do their half-yearly exam. So you couldn't disturb them too much. But I did explain that in 178 years, something like this is a blip. We faced much more. You faced children being evacuated from here and taken down the river to the residency where they had to live for years, for months, in rags. We've had them being taken out of the residency and down to Kanpur, and from there by boat to Banaras, where they stay for 2 years before they come back. What is this? This is nothing. We have had world wars. We've had 2 of them. We have had COVID-19. What is this? It is actually nothing, but this could be potentially a turning point in seeing that things go down. That we should not permit, because this is the problem of this generation and of the present for us. And your presence here and your continued support is meaningful. What do we mean by continued support? I welcome very much what Mr. Bhargav suggested. Right? That we do formalize what we are saying at this meeting. Otherwise, it's just become a talk show. Right? What we have said at this meeting should go to the officers of this institution, all of ex officio, and let me place on record, brilliantly chosen. Every one of those officers are people who we need. You need the district administration. You need the commissioner of this entire division because of this huge land bank. You need the chairman, who is the senior judge of a court, even though he will probably recuse himself, as he must, out of propriety, from any matter that is related to La Martiniere. Just with him, his presence on that board, as chairman of that board, makes so much of a difference. You do need the military authority. You do need certain experts or people who are involved in education, cool, sane-headed people who serve on this committee. La Martiniere Lucknow is unlike La Martiniere Calcutta. We have no problem with the constitution of our board. It is a fine board. We at the moment, have a problem with individuals on a board. But how long do individuals last in professional life? How long will you and I last even in biological life? Okay? Just look at Faisal, he's already looking half dead. All right now. So how long are we going to last? In professional life, what is your shelf life? 6 months, 1 year, suddenly there is a riot in the city, everybody is changed at once, overnight. La Martiniere principle, this one has been here 12 years. Sykes was here for 31 years. So we've been there, done that. All right? I would like this matter to be formalized. B, when there is a call for assistance, I would like you to grant us that assistance in whatever way you can. Now, it does not mean that because the Javranis are running a bakery or a series of bakeries, they have to send me cake, although that would be nice, all right? It does not mean that. But in your personal capacity as a Martinian, whatever you can do, please do. And above all, desist as much as is possible, desist from putting up any kind of judgmental remarks or comments or posts on a media that has only been around for about 10 years. We don't know what the protocol or the etiquette is. We are still learning. My boys are learning. They have to be scolded as to what to put on and what not to put on. It is not that they have to be censored, but definitely they have to be monitored because we are all still fairly new in this. Okay? Many thanks to the members of the executive committee for actually crystallizing this decision. They were caught between a rock and a hard place. Last Sunday, we met to finalize matters related to the election to the LMA, because this year is an election year. Okay? And when they were going through the dates, because this is a democratic process, we will bitch behind each other's back, no problem. Right? But a democratic process will still be followed, but a democratic process will not be sabotaged or overthrown. A part of that democratic process was that the patron is to constitute a committee which will scrutinize the forms, for the patron will be advised by that committee, and the patron has the, for want of a better word, veto of being able to actually reject the candidature of a person who he feels may not serve the interests of the entire LMA, which does not mean that the principal or the patron rigs it, because once again this has to be done in the open. And so when I was approached that day, that when will you do this, I said, I am sorry, I will not do it because I cannot wear different hats. I'm one and the same person. If I'm on leave, then I'm on leave from everything. If I am the principal, and because I am the principal, I am the patron. If as the principal I have taken a certain moral ground, well then it applies, I'm sorry, to the old boys whose help I definitely need. I repeat, whose help I definitely need. But I will not be able to scrutinize this. The second decision, which must be taken today, is for a date or a time frame, because sometimes dates depend upon the school calendar, the school program, all right, etc., etc. For example, today, the boys did their half-yearly exam in this hall. All the tables have been moved out, and the hall has been set for the meeting, and later tonight all the tables will be put back, because tomorrow is Vishwakarma Ji Puja. All right? So these are some of the things which would have to be looked into as well. Okay? Thank you very much. Okay. Before this fracas took place, when people said, "When are you retiring?" I said, I have two options. One option is to retire on the 31st of March of 2024, because that is the correct end of the term. And the second, that if I am called upon to serve in a capacity of principal on extension, I will only do it if the extension is for a complete period of 3 years. And I'll tell you why. I have at the moment completed 12 years. This job becomes pensionable at the end of 15 years. After the crap which we've been through, would you support me for 1 year extension and then not get a pension? Forget it. Would you support me and say, okay, at the end of this 1 year, we will see for the second year? Forget it. If I am to take the pressures which I'm taking, right? If I am to continue to take the pressures, okay, it must be for a period of 3 years, and I am not pleading with you for this. I am stating this, all right, that 31st March of 2024, whereupon we will constantly party thereafter for every one of the events which I held in school. But for the professional requirement, there has to be a quid pro quo. And the quid pro quo is, will I be eligible for a pension? And if I am not, then it does not suit me. Who knows? I might join another institution where I would probably be paid more than what, at the moment, La Martiniere is paying its staff. Thank you very much for your undivided attention.
Next on the agenda, I would invite Mr. McFarland to unveil the Martiniere Gazette. It has been published after a break of maybe 2 years.
Okay, we require some silence in the hall and everyone will sit down. The gentleman at the back, we'll have a lot of conversation just now. At the moment, fulfill the formality of this program. Yeah, we will wait for silence, don't worry. It is with great pride that we release the Martiniere Gazette, which was established by Mr. Gautam Bajaj when he was secretary of the committee, and who has continued to contribute both financially as well as through the terrific talent and professionalism of the company that he runs. Okay? It is my great privilege to receive the first copy.
The Gazette would also be posted on the groups in PDF format for you to access, and the hard copies are available here. You can collect it on the way back. Thank you everyone for being here, and let's close this meeting for now. Thank you.